stage for Hank Garrett.
I recently did a show at the Jewish Home for the Aging, and I learned something of incredible importance. I learned why Jewish men get circumcised. It seems that most Jewish women wouldn't touch anything that isn't at least 20% off. I'm originally from New York, and I got to tell you something quite honestly, I miss New York. I miss New York because there was a sense of family and warmth that I never found anywhere else in the world. Truly. Any given morning, my grandmother and grandfather would get up. Then my mother and father would get up. Then my Uncle Charlie and my Aunt Rose would get up. Then my cousin Seymour and my cousin Ruth would get up. Then my brother Murray and my brother Saul would get up. Before you knew it, I had that whole bed to myself. I never slept alone till I got married. I spoke to my wife, and she said, I'm having a problem. I said, what is that, honey? She said, I can't get the car started. I said, why? She said, well, the carburetor is wet. I said, honey, how do you know the carburetor is wet? She said, the car's in the pool. This is the same woman on our wedding night. I leaned over to her and said, sweetheart, tell me the truth. Am I your first man? She says, why does every guy ask me the same goddamn question? I promise you this is true. We're in a restaurant not too long ago. Men, listen to this, I promise you, and let me know if this has ever happened to you. My wife says to me, don't turn around, but who's that sitting behind you? Instinctively, you start to turn around. She says, don't turn around, you'll embarrass me. 10 minutes later, she says, you can turn around now, they've gone. We have 2 children. One of my boys is here tonight, and I got to tell you something. When my son was 16 years, let me preface this, he's a nice kid. He's not the brightest kid in the world. A nice kid. To give you an idea how bright he is, and we were going to name him Otto so he'd only have 2 letters to remember. But he's 16, and what does a kid in California have to have? A car. We bought this genius a car. The first 6 months, he put 90,000 miles on his car. Comes to me and says, Dad, I want to sell the car, but nobody will buy it because he's got 90,000 miles on it. What should I do? I said, why don't you do what every honest, red-blooded American would do? Turn back the odometer. He did. 3 weeks later, I said, well, did you sell the car? He said, why should I sell it? It's only got 6,000 miles on it. I was advised, they said, Hank, if you and your family are going to live here, you must find yourself a good doctor. Well, they have some interesting doctors in Encino. This doctor has a sign in his office that said, death does not mean an end to your financial obligation. I have a question. When you make an appointment to see a doctor, say you make an appointment for 2 o'clock, you show up at 1:45 because you don't want to keep that God Almighty doctor waiting, right? You get into the waiting room. I picked up this one magazine and it said, the Lindbergh baby is missing. It is now 2:30. The nurse comes out and says, Mr. Garrett, will you follow me to the examining room? Put the magazine down, you go into the examining room, you're there for 15 to 20 minutes. You got nothing to do because you left the magazine in the waiting room. What do you do to kill time? You go through the drawers. And you take a few Band-Aids, few cotton balls, souvenirs. That's all they are. It's like when you take sweet and low from the restaurant. I made a huge mistake. The souvenirs I took were tubes of Vaseline and KY jelly. Now the doctor comes in and says, Mr. Garrett, since you're over 40, I have to check your prostate. He puts on that one plastic glove, goes to the drawer and says, this is going to hurt. I hope you enjoyed my bit of nonsense as much as I have.